Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Colombian Cat Woman podcast. And we continue with our series of Black expats in Spain. On today's episode, we have lovely Naomi in the house. Hello, Naomi, and welcome.
Thank you for allowing me to share my story. Thanks.
Thank you for responding to my call to action. It's the podcast would be nothing without my guests, so thank you very much. Naomi, could you tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you're located? Just a little bit where you're located and where you're from.
I'm from the Netherlands. I have my roots in Suriname, but most of my life I've uh, born, partly raised, and I've lived in the Netherlands for a long time. And now I'm in Spain, South Spain, in Seville, Andalusia, and yes, quite a change. Yeah.
Sevillanos, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like uh the language is so much different than I thought it would be. Like, the way the Sevillanos pronounce things. I'm like, oh, I'm missing something. Like,
The other half of the word, that's what you're
yeah.
missing.
So it's like, yeah, it's so much different when when you start to live there instead of being the tourist. It's like, oh yeah, okay, so this is this is
Reality.
different.
How long have you been in Spain for?
This is my third year. So yeah, we came in December 2019. So we
Okay.
had a few months before COVID hit. And
Then, wow.
yes,
Who are you here with? Are you here with your family?
yes, I'm married to Luke, and we have two little boys. My oldest is going to be 7 next year, in the beginning of next year, and my youngest is 4. So yes, it's so funny because they call themselves like, yes, we're Dutch,
Mm-hmm.
but I could see them, like changing into like the
Yeah, no,
yeah, so it's like the way they speak, even the way they say things in Dutch, it's like I have to correct them, like, okay, this is not how we say it, and this is
that word doesn't exist in Dutch.
yeah, it's like so it's funny to see the change, but like at home we speak Dutch.
Okay.
So yes.
Can I ask you about what you work for a living here? Are you
Well,
used to?
that's yeah, that's a little bit odd compared to what people usually do. They move for like their work, but we've moved actually because we wanted something different, like a
Mhm.
different lifestyle for ourselves, for our family, and we thought this is the moment because the children are they're quite young.
Mhm.
Like, oh, my youngest is has lived most of his life in Spain.
Okay.
But we didn't want to wait, like when they are teenagers, and yeah, we felt like, okay, you're stuck in like a certain lifestyle in the Netherlands, and we wanted to break out, like like before you have more, like yeah, before it becomes complicated or more complicated. So we actually moved for a better balance work life, and we work remote. So I work as an autónoma, so that's like a solo entrepreneur,
Mhm.
and not for Spanish companies.
No, I'm not going to say, but it works better for you working as an autonomo here as a freelancer for a
Yes.
non-Spanish company.
Yeah, because first of all, like my Spanish isn't that great. I mean, I I try, and I have less Spanish course, but yes, it's different. It's different when you start living and you have to arrange stuff. So like, oh, I've never had that in class. So it's and also, like what we talked about, the way Sicilianos talk, it's just different, especially like the generation, like the abuelas, the older people. Like, oh, I really want to be polite and talk to you, but
We won't be able to understand each other.
yeah.
Why did you guys choose Seville as opposed to maybe Malaga or as opposed to Valencia or Barcelona or one of the other big cities?
Yeah.
Seville is a big city in Andalusia. However,
Well,
it's not one
it's
of the
not.
hubs that people tend to be drawn to. So, what made you guys choose Seville? Sevilla.
Yes. Well, yeah, before we move, we've made like a road trip, a plan to visit different like cities and regions in Spain. And in the north, I was like, yeah, well, if yeah, I mean, I remember just sitting there in the rain. I was like, okay, if this
I
is
could
the
be in the
case, I could just stay in the Netherlands, because it's I mean, my life in the Netherlands, I mean, I'm still like very thankful, like I appreciate everything I had in the Netherlands. Um, but it was like, this is not it, like the north of Spain. And we've been also to the coast, and like we met different people, and we were like, okay, interesting. But I felt like you could just um, easily meet other foreigners instead of really get into like the Spanish lifestyle and meeting Spanish people. Um, so actually, by accident, we stopped in Seville, and yeah, we fell in love with the city, and we met another couple, like who said, okay, we lived here for like 20 years, we know how you feel, we can help you out, like.
okay.
So there was um we were first a little bit like skeptical. I don't know if that's the right word, but like not, like, not sure, let's see, let's like come back for like we came back like 2 times to check things out, and then we're like, no, this is really the place for us to have like the combination of the really Spanish life, but also um, it's like compared to the south like Algeciras. That was also one of the options, and I was like, no, I didn't feel like um I belonged in Algeciras. It was more like, no, this is just too far from our own life. So it's
You see that I went on holiday there many, many years ago when I was doing my degree in Spanish. And I
yeah.
remember saying to my lecturer at the time, I've booked a holiday. It was like a cheap deal to Algeciras. He's like, we're going to Algeciras. Like, why? Nobody goes there on holiday. It's a port town, a port city, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah, it felt so far from, like, okay, it's not. I think also because of having kids, like, like really small kids, I was like, okay, no, I want them to have, like, something in the middle, like with opportunities, and like, so I thought, no, that's not it for us, Algeciras, but Seville felt like the, like northwestern Europe, but also a bit of like South America. And I know now, by now, you should not say it to the Spaniards like it has like a South American feeling. But like I partially grew up in South
You're
America, so
Suriname, yep, Suriname, yep.
yeah, so I'm like, I know what I'm talking about, and they're like, okay, no, and like, I'm sorry, then,
Yep. Yeah, it's a big discussion to be had maybe another time. It's very
Yes.
similar living in the Canaries. It's got that, South American feel and way of doing things in
Yes.
good and not so good ways, let's just say.
True. I mean, and historically wise, I mean, it's just yeah, it's we cannot, like erase history. It's just there, and some people don't want to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can talk only about, my experience. So for me, that's also the reason, like I also love Seville. It's just um yeah, it's just for me it's a region between two continents. So that is how I feel.
So you guys moved there as a unit, as a family,
Yes.
and you and your husband, your partner, you're both self-employed. How was the whole process of starting a new life in Spain, registering, getting self-employed? How was that experience, getting the kids registered in school? How was your landing process and your introduction to life in Spain?
Well, um I think that um you're you're being challenged because of the kids, like getting them into school. You're being challenged to really think things through. Like, okay, where do you want to settle? Where do you want them to go? And it's like, wow, all those things you have to read. Luckily, our reading is much more advanced than our speaking, because we live in like okay, you have Seville, and then 20 minutes, like away, it's like it's a smaller city like where we live. And oh, I mean, not a lot of people speak English. So it was really like, oh, okay. Even the teacher, like we went to a public school, and we were like, yeah, we could you can ask the English teacher to talk to you. And we were like, well, okay, let's try that. Like I was happy because my Spanish wasn't, great. And um but then, and okay, English is not my first language, so it was also like, okay, I know how you feel because English is, but when we started the conversation in English, I was like, oh God, no, let's just do it in Spanish.
Or, or let's speak in Dutch, it might be better.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, maybe that would even be better, because I was like, oh, I was just a little bit shocked. Like, okay, is this the level of English? But like eventually we enrolled them to into a school and further away from home. It's a good school. It's just like accidentally, like we you ran into someone else who's it's she's also Dutch,
Okay.
and but she's her partner is a Spaniard. So she was like, I know how you feel about public schools, but this school is really a good school. Like you could really, trust me and this, and I have my kids, enrolled. So yeah, because I was really like, okay, if this is the level of like education here, I want them in a private school, because but then again, I also felt like, okay, being getting your kids into a private school like too would be also very like finance wise. Okay, you need to work more to get them it. Yeah, so it was like we leave the Netherlands not to work more, like so um so if yeah, eventually we are very happy where they are now. And like for me, getting to them to um after school activities, like it's just also the way to connect with other people, even with the parents of school. Because yes, if you don't have kids, you're out there more, but I feel like to really getting to know, like the Spaniards families, it's just a little bit difficult, because people don't, say like, come to my home, come to my place, um yeah, I feel like people when they do it with us, it's more like because we're not from around, they're like, okay, come, yeah. But usually people meet in cafes and like in bars, and even with like parties from like the birthday parties is all in the noisy playground. So it's just it's just like another like lifestyle and life and getting to know the Spaniards. Yeah, it's actually through the kids mostly. Like
So the kids have been a great aid for you guys to basically integrate into the culture. And
yeah, because now we eat at like between 2 and 3. You have to go into the lifestyle, the rhythm of
mm,
like life here. And if it's just you could say, we'll still eat at 6 o'clock, our like main course, our dinner, because that is what we used to do in the Netherlands. But no, you really have to change that. And being an yeah, autonomous, like finance things, like it's yeah, like looking back, it's just like, oh, this was very tough. Also because Corona hit and people were like, oh, you can only come in with appointment, and then it was just a hassle. But still, even though we had that, still we were like, this is the place we need to be. Like this is where we want our kids to grow up, where we, like get rooted, like
mhm.
to grow. And yeah, so it's challenging, and I would say if you can ask someone if you could like pay a company to do that, you should do it. But then again, it's also like a lesson to really know how it, like is in Spain. Because I was, like just getting a bank account. Like I'm about to leave the country. Like bye. I was so frustrated. But then
You've had
like
many lessons. You've been basically forced to learn things because you
yeah.
had to do them yourselves and you didn't outsource all of those experiences
Yeah.
to another company, which would have made life a lot easier for you guys. But now you know how to do it and you know where to go.
Yeah. So it's now it's even like um we're buying a house, and it's like okay, it's different. It's different. But because we've done so much like work ourselves before, how like okay, just take it slow. And you really need to ask and to ask and to ask before you get like the answer that you're like, okay, this is sufficient, to make a choice. Because yeah, it's different. I mean, from yeah, like the Netherlands is such a different country when it comes to communication and telling, like um, to make a informed choice. To make a choice. You're like, you need this and this kind of information to make us like a solid, a good choice. And here is like, okay, this is the way it is, and like, but why is it the way it is?
And it doesn't work, but it's just the way that it is.
Yeah, so it's like, but yeah, indeed, but this doesn't work. So why are we doing it? So
Because that's what we've
it's
always done and that's how we
yeah.
continue to do it. Oh, well.
So it's really like, to get that kind of stress, you really have to learn to get it, like to let it go to the background and like, okay, no, this is a little bit, like we don't like it, but still you have to learn to yeah to move with it to
Yeah,
yeah to
to
get
go
along.
with the
Yeah,
flow because
yeah,
we can't change the systems that are in place. That's the
no,
reality of the situation. No matter what we know, no matter where we come from, no matter how progressive or advanced that the places are that we come from, it doesn't matter. This is where
no.
we are, and these are their systems, and we have to understand them. As frustrating as it is.
Yeah, and but then again, people are. I feel. How can I put this? Or how can I say it? Like, when it comes to organizations, like especially like public at like organizations, like sometimes you're really like, okay, this is you don't understand the people, you don't connect with them really. But outside of those like people, their work environment, they're so nice. They're also always willing to help.
They're
And
real
it's like,
people. In the
yeah,
UK, they're very much not very kind people in real life. If they're not kind at work, they're not kind in real life.
yeah, but this is different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like, this is my job, and I don't care about my job, but I'm a good person and I'm a
I
cool
didn't want
person.
to say it. True, true. It's like it's and that is maybe what draws us to Spain as well. Like people, their business, their work life is it's not the same for them. It's like, okay, I've closed the door, from my work and it's done. And now
Now
I'm
it's
gonna
let's get on with life.
yeah. So it's also, like, and if you talk to people outside, they're like, I know someone who can help you. And to be honest, before we, like I was like, no, I will do it myself. No, you don't have to go with me. I could do it myself. And they were like, are you sure we can help you? Oh, my neighbors are like, nah, I'm Dutch, you know. But now you're like, yeah, if someone can help you, just,
Accept it.
accept it and just be this is just the way it works. So accept it, and when there's a time you can help another one, just do it. Like that is
Spain
how I
is very
feel.
much one of those places that works by the enchufe, they call it, the
Yeah,
plug in, the connection. And so if you don't have those connections, then you are at a disadvantage. So it's good that you've been able to create those where you are. A couple of things have just come out of the things that you just said. So comparing like properties in the Netherlands to properties here in Spain, you talked about you guys are in the process of buying
yeah.
something here. How would you compare the price of like the cost of a two-bed house, for example, in the Netherlands to a two-bed house where you reside now? If you like compare the two.
It's sorry. I mean, I think prices in Madrid are, like I feel we've been to Madrid, and I really think life in Madrid itself is so much different than Seville.
Mm-hmm.
If I compare the prices in Seville with, just the Netherlands in general, I
Mm-hmm.
must say, like, yeah, you could, uh, the price of like a apartment, like a two-bed apartment in the Netherlands is, like you could buy a whole castle in Seville,
Wow.
like it's
Wow, wow, wow.
okay. I mean, yeah, so like just a beautiful house, like a big, huge house, because um I've seen prices going up like in the Netherlands just for like highly like 200,000, like just for a regular, not even an elevator. It's just like, you have to walk the stairs to get where you
Mm-hmm.
have to be. So, and in Spain or in Seville, yeah, the prices are, yeah, for just a house, just a beautiful house with, everything in and out, it's just like between 2 and 300,000 euros. So it's different. But I must say that I find that buying electric appliances, like
Mm-hmm. Electrical
on a
appliances. Mm-hmm.
yes, I think that they're cheaper in the Netherlands. So some things are just like a little bit different, like I'm like, why would you like pay so much like here compared to the Netherlands? So living in Seville is, yes, is so much more in balance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, some things are just a little more expensive. Also, just like getting a good like quality table, like a bed and those kind of things. It's more like, oh, you really, if you don't, you'll end up in the IKEA. And I'm like, I don't want to go to IKEA. I just want to go to like a Spanish, like store. But then you see, okay, it's it's
The
not
options
that
are limited. Yeah.
yeah, so that's a pity because I feel like oh, why isn't it, like possible to buy something here and support, like, but then again, Spanish people work in IKEA or at IKEA, so you still support the economy here, but
Mhm.
it's just a little bit different.
Not the way in which you
So
like to support local businesses, small
yeah,
local businesses. I
yeah.
understand what you're saying there. Um, so your kids are at school. How do they feel about the experience? How are they? How have they integrated? How has the reception been of your kids in the school, and how have your kids kind of felt about being here?
Yeah, well, yeah, I think the school where they are, it has an international feel, like as being colored, you always like, oh, do I see you? I see you. Hi. Like I'm always happy to see color. And my husband is like he's white, so even he is looking out for me, like I see
There's a black
stop
person.
it. I want to see him myself. But yeah, I feel like my kids being bicultural even more than just two, but um that they fit in also because there are, like they're not the only one who, yeah, there are more kids that have like a different background, even if
Okay.
it's just like French, um, French, Spanish, English, Spanish, but also like Asian. There's an Asian kid in my oldest his class, or just like not a lot, but still you see like mixed kids, or just like like people colored just as I am. So I'm
Mhm.
just have to stop myself from going to like to those kids and like hi, here, here's your auntie. Yeah. but yes, I feel like it's the school is important, but then again the school is not close to where our house now is, so
Mhm.
um I think they would have been the only colored kids in their whole school if it would be, like where we are now, where we live now. So
Okay.
the school where they are now it's just yeah. I also feel like the schools are the teachers are very aware, like okay, um the kids are like they have a different background, and language wise with the oldest they were really looking at, okay, how could we help him to develop his language, because
Wow.
as we
Okay.
yeah, as we said, we don't speak Spanish at home, and I both my husband and I, we're not there yet to get to teach our kids in like to teach them Spanish. But even though you can teach them, you can talk about the language. You could still like work together and talk about the language. So, but the teachers, they were really like, okay, how could we, like help the kids, or my oldest, how could we help him? Because my oldest was very aware that his Spanish wasn't good, that he was, like lacking. But no, he's not, what now they're both like at the top of their class, like,
Good.
doing good at school. So I'm really like happy with the teachers there because they're really focused on what does this child need.
Fantastic.
And
That's
yeah.
really, really good to hear. Um, what would you say to other people, other Black people, that are thinking about moving to Seville, which is where you live, or moving to Spain? What would you say to them? What
um
advice would you give them?
what, I must say I do experience still a struggle, like if we really zoom in, like focus on being Black.
Hmm.
I feel like, as I said, I'm in, yeah, like, yeah, I'm near to the city, Seville, but it's like 20 minutes, and you could also see like the 20 minutes. Sometimes it feels like 20 years in history because I was shocked the first time I went to like the Los Reyes Magos. I was
Mhm.
like, why are they painted black? And in the Netherlands, we
Fantastic.
also have like a figure called the Black Pete, like the assistant of Santa Claus, a kind of Santa Claus. And I was very outspoken about that because
Mhm.
I was like, not on my watch. I mean,
Good.
I have a generation, like I have my two boys. I just want them to feel good about themselves, and I don't need Black Pete, in their lives. I
Yes.
was
Yes,
very
good.
outspoken. Also, like where they went to daycare, was like, no, no Black Pete. No. But here, it's like, oh wow, I was just shocked. That was like my jaw like fell
Right.
open.
Like, what the fuck?
So it's yeah, but I feel like I want to talk about it with people, but it's not, like you really have to be sensitive. And because my Spanish isn't that great, it's like, how do you talk about it? Like it really feels like, okay, you could, yeah,
So
it's
one,
for
you've
me,
got to overcome the language barrier to be able to
yeah,
communicate with people on the daily level. And then
yeah,
you
to
want to talk
really
about race
deep
and politics.
conversation.
Yes.
Yes, yeah. And
Which
I feel like the people at school where my kids go, they really understand like, okay, we need like representation. I see it in the color in their books, and their, like even in class, when we go into the class, I see color kids, like I'm happy about it. But here, where we live further away from the big city, I feel like, oh yeah, it's
there's a lot of work to be done.
still. And I told you about the couple who said like who helped us before. They were like, oh, 20 years ago, it would be a problem for you to live in this neighborhood because
Okay.
like. But we found out that this is not the case. People are really, like friendly and open to connect. But yeah, the next phase to talk about those deeper things, I think yeah, for me, it needs time.
So what advice would you
Yeah.
give other people, other black people that are thinking about relocating to Spain? Is there anything that you
Come.
would say? Come.
Yeah. You feel like it's like family wise, I feel like I have more time for my family.
Mhm.
And yes, of course, I miss my parents, I miss my brother. But then again, I feel like, when they're here, you have really the time to connect. And um yes, I almost talk to my brother on a daily basis, and I'm like, okay, I'm so happy I'm not in the Netherlands anymore because,
So on that note, so you would tell other black people just to come.
yeah.
What's the weather like? Because I know that it gets extremely hot where you are in Seville. So how do you deal with those 40-degree summers, and what's it like during those months, the summer months?
Okay, I have to admit that this summer we went away for, I went to my parents, and my parents are now back in Suriname. So,
It's okay.
sorry. So I would say get out. It's during the summer. Just go, leave, go visit your family. Wherever they are, because it's a desert. And Seville is just so hot, and the kids are, like they have almost like 3 months vacation. So for me as a freelancer, I was like, oh, I really need to work as well. So it was a good combination to even leave the country because yeah, because it's so hot. But then again, price wise, because of you could leave before the regular vacation starts.
Hmm.
Ticket wise, I had like a very good deal, and I feel like if you I feel you have more choice, like you could even go to the mountains, and price wise, it's yeah, I feel like I could do more with less money compared to the Netherlands. In the Netherlands we were always focused like, oh, we need those vacation of a few weeks, like you were really like looking forward to it.
Hmm.
And now I the only thing is the summer that okay, I have to go. We need to go to the mountains. We need to go like to the Netherlands to visit family. Yeah, to Suriname, we need to leave. But other than that, I have no desire to go out to have vacation the way I used to have when I lived in the Netherlands. Like my friends, they really mark those days, count those days, like okay, and then we'll have vacation. No, for me it's yeah.
I mean, the other part of that is one, you've got the long summer holidays, and then two,
Yeah.
there are so many bank holidays in Spain. It's like
Oh yeah.
every other week the bank holiday.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, I don't want any more bank holidays. Sometimes it's like that because nothing happens and things stop, and you can't,
Yeah.
go to the public sector and say, get an appointment because nobody's available because they're on
Yeah.
holiday and it's holiday season and it's holiday season again and
True.
it's a bank holiday and a holiday season. It's like,
Again, I need to work, people. Yeah.
I need to get things done, but it's holiday season and it's bank holiday. It's like
Yeah.
literally a cycle of endless holidays and bank holidays for the
Yeah.
public sector. For the public sector,
Yeah. Well, and my kids are in like also in public school, like okay, they're but
but here
they're getting
again,
older. Yeah, they're getting older. It's easier. I'm happy I'm a freelancer, so I could, even like have more control in what I can do, want to do. So yeah, but it's my desires, like they've changed. So
okay.
I would say why not come? Even, we tried for like a sabbatical year, even during Corona, just feeling the sun touching your skin. I think Black people need it, white people need it, but Black people need it more. So really, it's
Yeah, we need the sun. We need
fun.
that melanin. We need, and
Yeah,
it's medically proven, clinically proven that people need daylight. And you know,
yeah,
suicide rates are high in Northern Europe, which I'm sure you know because there's so little sun.
yeah.
Um, what one negative thing would you say about Seville or Spain or Andalusia? Two positives would you say? What would you say?
Well, one negative thing about uh, um, for Black people in particular.
You're speaking as a black person, but you give your
No,
opinion.
I have something in mind. It's I find it hard to find someone to do my hair. Like, like it's okay, luckily it's growing, but sometimes I want something different and I'm like I have to do it myself before I find someone who I can trust. So that's a thing. Yeah.
My answer, my answer.
Ah,
But I've got alopecia, so it works for me.
I'm thinking about it and I feel like, oh, but then it's just the thing, like going back and forth, like cut it or or
You've got a
but
good head of hair. I've got alopecia, which is why I do that for because it makes my life a lot easier. So
do you oil your head? Because I feel like the some products here, they're not spec- specific for like Black people, but they're like natural. Like I love those, like the natural products, so I'm starting to use them as well. But yeah, it's I think like I because people have curly hair here, and my boys have curly hair, so I I don't have a problem finding products for them. But
mhm,
for me, it's
not
I'm
that easy.
yeah, I'm finding more products that work for my hair, but really finding like someone who could do my hair and that I just have to relax. And oh yeah, it's so that's the one negative thing. Um,
Too positive. What would you say?
too positive thing. And by the way, a lot of Spaniards use Amazon, so I didn't I didn't even use Amazon before in the Netherlands because it isn't that big there yet. But
Okay.
there's another company that's bigger. But now I'm starting to use Amazon as well. um, Two positive things about well, for me, I feel like okay, maybe you stand out, but you don't stand out a lot when you're downtown in Seville because there are so many people, so many, like differences, even between Spaniards. So
Hmm.
I love seeing Spanish like with really like yeah, like curly hair. Like wow, this is like really tiny curls. Like it's so
Well,
beautiful
you've
to
got the
see.
gypsy community that's there in
Also,
Seville,
yeah,
and then also Andalusia was basically Moors, the African Moors, basically, had Andalusia for like 500 years. So there's,
and people
those
know
roots are
that.
deep,
I
roots are
mean,
deep.
yes, it's their history. You see it. It's like it's so I think even like from my point of view, it's like it amazes me to see also Arabic. Like it's you see the diversity
Hmm.
in a way. It's not like out there like people speak multiple languages. No, that's not really the case. But you
But
see.
genetically, you can see it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're not all like blonde and blue and like blue eyed. No, it's just you see the differences, and I like that. I love to see that, and also like food wise, things you could try out. Like yeah, I think um in the Netherlands, I wasn't really in the kitchen because that's just not my thing. But here, I love to like to go out and eat. But I also love to stay at home and to like try different things. And I feel um yeah the space in your head, like
Hmm.
mental space. It's so much more. Even though um, paperwork is quite a hassle. And I'm European. I mean, isn't it, like really strange? Like you're European, it's still a lot of paperwork. But
Spain is
yeah,
renowned for its bureaucracy.
yeah, it's just
Definitely.
a lot. But still, even though you have that part, I would say just even for a year, explore it. Just see like how to connect and how to see how your own world, your mental world can expand. So yeah.
So is there anything else? I think we're going to come to a
Mhm.
close for today, but is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers about your experience as a Black expat in Spain, about your experience as a mom in Spain, as an entrepreneur in Spain? Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you would like to share?
As a black person, yes, I was like very like um
Skeptical,
I
maybe?
was scared, like oh, I have to be aware, extra aware. Even if you have kids, you need to be extra aware because
Hmm.
that's momhood. Um, um, but it's you really have to think about how Spaniards are, and then
Hmm.
sometimes they're like, oh, this is just the regular, like the way they react to everyone. So that's like a way to get you to learn also the culture. So don't be afraid. People are willing to help. Like like just make that step. As an entrepreneur, if you focus on clients from your home country or even international, I feel like you can have even more, like financial space to uh, do more in Spain. To like um, it's I think like the price quality wise, like it's livable. I'm very happy about this because it goes in seasons, of course, when you're a freelancer. But I feel if you're more in control of, like your own life
Hmm.
and what you do, it works for me. It works for me as a mom, as an expat. I'm really happy about it. I used to work as an advisor for a local government. Well, I would not do that here in Spain, but even looking back to that life, I'm like, no, actually, no, I don't want to. I really like being an entrepreneur, and yeah, as a mom, I also think like this journey, even if you would say like, oh, we're going back to the Netherlands in 5 years, this is an experience
Hmm.
that is so much, like more than vacation. Sometimes people say, yeah, let's travel the whole world. I mean, you could do that. You could do that, of course, quite expensive.
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm. Hmm.
I think.
I agree
But
with you.
this brought us for our family. It brought us, like a lot of, like uh, sometimes tension. Like what is this? And you're like, yeah, you're missing your girlfriends, and you're like, okay, well, you have to be my girlfriend now, husband. So, but it brought us so much closer as a team as well. Like
That's
yeah,
good.
we really have to do this. Yeah, we're going forward. We're like, yeah, like not do, but coming together, and yeah. So that's it.
So I'm going to say thank you very much for your honesty, your openness. I don't know if you want to say what it is that you do, if you're looking for new clients, if you want to promote yourself, then this would be a moment to do so if you want to.
um. Well, for my, with work-wise, I'm a writer. Like I focus truly on the Netherlands because yeah, I'm not an English writer. I'm a Dutch writer. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, there's something I want to say.
Exactly.
I'm now an ambassador for It's July because I feel like It's July. It's a platform where families, can meet all over the world, and they can connect through the platform. If you like fill in the ages of the kids and your location, the
Hmm.
platform will make a connection with other family, and most of the
Okay.
time it's expat family because I feel like yes, I love meeting Spaniards, but the people who you really really connect to are Spaniards who travel a lot or live,
Exactly.
like abroad because they
Mm-hmm.
understand where you're coming from,
Hmm. Hmm.
and other expats. So I think it's like also good to have those kind of people, to meet them and to have them in your circle. And yeah, sometimes it's hard to get to know them. Even I think also because of when COVID hit, people were very reserved.
Mm.
So that's why I would love to promote It's July because I think it's yeah, a very good asset for families.
If you send that to me via email, then I'll put it in the description of the video when we release the video.
Yes.
So, and then other people can contact you if they've got kids, and create that community, develop that community
Yeah.
somewhere. So,
It's really important, like for yourself, as like discussing mom things, like but also for the kids, also to know, like be aware, like, oh yeah, there are also other kids who
mm,
have their own language. Like, yeah, it's I feel that it's very important. Yeah,
that's fantastic.
that's it.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. So I'm going to say thank you very much for your openness, your honesty, your time, all the information that you've given. And I hope that
Yeah.
this will be very useful to other parents that are thinking about relocating with their children. Obviously, other Black parents, that's our podcast, that's our focus. And you've had a really positive experience in Spain. It's the right
Yeah.
place for your family and it works for your family, which is fantastic to hear. From me, the Colombian Cat Woman, I want to say I'm over and out. So thank you for today's energy. If you want to learn Spanish, then I can help you with that. That's to our listeners, that's to anyone that wants to know. And if you'd like to share your story as a Black expat in Spain, then please reach out. I can help you get that story out. And that's it from me. There's probably plenty of other things that I can say, but I can't remember at this moment in time. So over and out from me, the Colombian Cat Woman. Peace.